Welcome to the Sisters of the Shire podcast. I am Ashley.
And I am Abby. And today we've made it into double digits last week. So it's 11?
11.
11.
I feel like the chapter that we're discussing today is like the weather just like conformed to it. Like it's called Of the Darkening of Valinor. And it is very cloudy and rainy here.
I know. We haven't had rain for a really long time, it's like normal for summer in Oregon, but it's still hard for an Oregonian to not have rain for so long. Like, I don't even remember last time it really rained. And it's been so hot. And then last night, like, we had such an epic sunset. And then it was like orange and pink and really beautiful, cool clouds. And then suddenly the clouds just went black. And then it suddenly started thundering and lightning. And it was epic. And I was like, oh, I forgot. Storms are a thing.
Yeah. And then somehow that same thundercloud, is it freaking Melkor? It made its way up here, and we are like literally in the midst of a thunderstorm. Like currently, you might hear it on the podcast if it gets loud enough. It was really loud earlier. So apparently Melkor is with us. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
He's setting the mood.
He's setting the mood.
And I apologize if you hear my naughty guinea pigs. Ladies, hey, they're chewing on their cage, which they don't normally do. And I'm like, hey.
They're getting restless.
I know. They're nervous. It's like them biting their nails. They're nervous.
Oh, and this is going to be an epic episode. I mean, last episode was definitely an epic episode as far as drama.
Brothers against brothers.
I mean, it's literally called Of the Darkening of Valinor. So,
wow.
Hold on to your butts.
So a quick recap of last episode. Feanor and
Finn was golfing.
Yes. Fighting because Melkor got released and he was being his usual sneaky, deceiving self and was whispering in Feanor's ear a little bit, I guess. And he was doing it to other elves, just kind of like sneaking, being all...
I think of Gollum. Trixie! False!
Yeah, Trixie! Of like saying like, oh my gosh, don't you know what the Valar's real plan is? It's just that you're like, not necessarily a slave, but kind of like a captor. You're not allowed to leave. You're basically like not, what would it be? Not cool enough, but like you're never going to be good enough as them. And so they think of you as like lesser, I guess. Is that what he was trying to say?
I was thinking about this last night when I was making this outline. Like, they're considering the elves to be... My niece always refers to herself, because she's the firstborn, as the pancake baby. Like the first pancake.
Oh
no. Melkor is also putting in the idea out there that, you know, the elves are going to be... You know, this was a good first run, but really we're going to, you know, have the men come soon and, you know, they're going to be easier to control. So
he was basically trying to get into their heads that the Valar aren't what they seem and have bad intentions.
Yeah.
And it kind of like leaked into Feanor's mind and he kind of got a little bit crazy.
Yes.
Just a little bit crazy.
Just a little bit. Because not only are the Valar the bad guys, but also Melkor makes Fingolfin and Finarfin, Feanor's half-brothers, out to be bad guys too, thinking that, you know, Fingolfin is going to take the throne from their dad, and the Valar is actually even going to help them do it because they like Fingolfin more. And then Melkor is getting on Fingolfin's side and telling him that Fëanor is going to push Fingolfin and Finarfin and their mom out because Fëanor, you know, just doesn't like them. Stir in that pot.
And then he introduced weapons.
Yes.
And like armor and stuff.
Let's make some weapons, guys.
And then like each family of elves or clan of elves, if you will, started their own kind of like arming themselves. And then at the end of last episode, I think we were talking about the like court scene where Feanor comes and he's like already up in arms about everything, and then he gets banished with his family because he's like too intense.
Well, the main thing, I mean that was already pretty bad, but the main thing that caused the banishment was that he actually threatened Fingolfin with a sword. He needs a timeout.
So he is currently banished in the north, in the mountain area, I guess. And Melkor finds him again, right? And Melkor wants to get the Silmarils for some reason. I don't know. I don't remember exactly why.
They're really shiny. So, I
Oh,
mean,
uh-huh. I get it. I get it. Remember, I said everybody thinks he's all dark and whatever, but I think he's like sparkly. Like, remember how we were talking about the Weaver lady?
Vaire.
Yeah, and she was like weaving. She's like, oh, I ran out of black. He uses too much black. It's gonna be sparkles now.
Purple sparkles.
So he liked the sparkly things. Wanted to say like, hey, everybody's gonna want these shiny rocks. They're never safe anywhere. And then he's like, oh, you're right. And so he hid them even more and protected them even more. And now Melkor really can't get them. So Fëanor has the Silmarils, and he's banished with his family up in the north. Melkor is a grumpy little cloud. Fingolfin and
Finarfin.
Finarfin are just trying to be good guys. They're just trying to be good guys. They're trying to like keep the peace.
Yes.
They love their dad too, you know. They're just trying to be good guys. And they didn't even press charges when Fëanor like went up to him with a sword, acting all crazy. So I think I'm changing my. I mean, I still like Fëanor. He does super cool works, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But he's been making some bad choices. Not really showing like brotherly love. Just not, being a little selfish.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to see where Fingolfin and that other guy who are like good guys and nice guys and don't want drama, what they're gonna go into. That's what I'm excited for. Okay, I'm ready. That was a recap. Sorry it was a little long, but there we are.
I was writing the recap for myself, and I'm like, is this mostly the episode of me trying to recap what happened last episode? So the only thing I'll add is after Fëanor shuts the door in his face, Melkor leaves, and through reports from different elf cities, from Tirion to Alqualande, everyone reports that Melkor, his rain cloud, was seen going up north to a new place called Araman. Araman? I haven't decided how I'm going to say it, sorry. Which is in the very, very far north, which is kind of like the Canada of Arda.
The Arctic Circle.
Yes. Now no one knows exactly where he is, and they're all scared of what he's going to do next. So that's how we left things.
Yes. So it's very, very fitting that we've got black thunder clouds above us right now.
Oh, yes. For sure. Okay, so from all the reports, Melkor was last sighted in the far, far north in Araman. So Monwë sends Tulkas, the muscle, to look for him, but he doesn't have any luck. And so they leave a watch up there to keep an eye on things. But what the Valar don't know is that Melkor actually did go to the north, but then he turned himself invisible.
Cool.
Which apparently all the Valar can do.
Cool.
If you could turn yourself invisible at any time, I would do it all the time.
Yes. Mommy needs some me time.
So he's invisible, and he doubles back and actually heads south. Still on the continent of Aemon, but to a new place that we haven't been before.
Florida.
Not even close.
No. Dang it.
This new place is called Avathar.
Avathar?
Correct.
Not Avatar. Avathar.
No, that's why I hesitated. I'm like, Um, it looks exactly like Avatar, but with an H. Avathar.
Oh.
Have you seen Avatar?
Yeah, it's Avatar. I love it so much.
So all you really need to know about, I can't not say it now. All you really need to know about Avatar is that it's at the far south of Aemon. It's on the coast side of the mountain range. Remember, there's a mountain range that's kind of on the west side of Aemon, but there is like a bit of a coastline that does provide some land. That's like where Eldamar is on the coastline on the other side of the mountain range. But this is the far, far south. And because it's on the other side of the mountains and it's so far south, it doesn't get much light.
Oh. So it's not a fun vacation down, how
No,
we would be like, we're going south for the winter. It's warmer down there. No.
no. Quote, there, beneath the sheer walls of the mountains and the cold, dark sea, the shadows were deepest and thickest in the world. And there, in Avathar, secret and unknown, Ungoliant made her abode.
Huh? Who's that? Ungoliant with the TH at the end? Ungoliant.
No, just a T. Ungoliant.
Okay. She sounds scurry.
Yeah.
She sounds a little bit spoopy.
Yes, very much so. Her name literally translates to gloom weaver.
Whoa, that's metal.
Yes. And it's not exactly clear. There's a lot of debates about it, but I'm just going to say the easiest way to explain her origins, and this isn't, don't fight me on this. This is just the easiest way to explain it. We'll just say that she was one of the Maiar in the very, very beginning, the helpers of the Valar,
Okay. Like Gandalf.
like Gandalf. He was kind of one of the lesser gods.
I heard a good description of that. The Valar and the Maiar. The Valar are like gods with a little g, gods. And then the Maiar are like angels who can have the same like celestial powers, but not as much an intensity as the Valar. But they can still do like cool stuff. And they're important.
Okay, yeah, I could see that.
I heard that the other day of like explanation. I was like, oh, that makes a little bit more sense of not saying like they're the same but not the same. Anyway, okay, she's one of those.
So she's one of those. And again, fight me, but I think that's just the easiest way to explain what she is. But in the very beginning, Melkor kind of turned her to the dark side.
Oh, she loves the bad boy.
After she turned to the dark side, though, she quickly decided, you know what? I want to do my own thing. Quote, desiring to be the mistress of her own lust, taking all things to herself to feed her emptiness.
Oh, we love a girl boss, you know? Girl boss.
Girl boss. So she stayed on Arda because she wanted to be close to the light of the trees. Quote, for she hungered for light and hated it.
Ooh, she seems fun.
Yes.
She seems like a good hang, a fun hang to be around.
Yeah. Oh, it gets better. Quote, in a ravine she lived and took shape as a spider of monstrous form, weaving her black webs as a cleft of the mountains. There she sucked up all light that she could find and spun it forth again in dark nets of strangling gloom until no light more could come to her abode, and she was famished.
Oh gosh.
Mm-hmm.
She sounds real spoopy.
Uh-huh.
Did you ever see Coraline?
No, and I'm told that my daughter would probably love it because my daughter is a dark soul who loves Tim Burton.
She would. she's a creepy girl. No, just kidding.
Well, at 2 years old, this girl's favorite movie was Nightmare Before Christmas. I'm not sure.
And Who Framed Roger Rabbit, which always made me
Yes.
laugh so hard because I was like, okay, jeez.
Okay, and just for the record, I'm not one of those moms that was like really pushing like Nightmare Before Christmas. I know there's a lot of people that love Nightmare Before Christmas and like love the darker stuff. My favorite movie is like Alice in Wonderland. Like, let's just as like a range.
Happy colors. It's a little bunny and it's cute.
I love the colors and the light, and she was like, Sally's my favorite.
I was watching this cartoon with my kids the other day, and there's this little girl character, and her dad asked her what she did that day, and it does like a quick flashback of them like fighting bears and like all this stuff, and she's like, "I've seen danger, and I love it." That's what reminds me of Lizzie. Like, I've seen scary stuff, and I love it.
Yes.
But when you look at Lizzie, she's like this cute little like rosy cheeked, adorable little girl, and I'm like, oh.
You would never know.
You like scary things. You scary girl.
She's a scary girl.
Anyway, in Coraline, there's this mother character. It's called Other Mother.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like an evil version of Coraline's mom. And she's real scary looking, but she kind of turns into like a spidery looking lady. And she's real scary. Type in Other Mother Spider.
Literally typing Other Mother. Type in other and other movies like 50 Shades of Grey. No.
Oh no. Not that. Did you see it? She's real scary. I don't like it.
I'd say that's pretty accurate. That is definitely Ungoliant. So keep that image in your mind. So Melkor gets to Avathar. He goes to find Ungoliant because he knows that's, he had like an ally in her once. And I find it interesting. Tolkien notes that Melkor changes form. When he was among the elves, he was kind of a nice looking elf, I guess, but like maybe still a little dark because that's Melkor. But when he was the tyrant lord Melkor in Autumno, that's when he was like the mountain volcano guy.
Get a guy who can do both,
I feel like there's a sheets thing here, that like a something in the streets and a something in the sheets thing, but
yeah,
I can't quite make it work in my brain.
A Valar
in the streets and Lord in the sheets. I don't know.
No, and Morgoth in the sheets.
Anyways,
look, I just typed in old Ungoliant in Google Images. She's pretty terrifying looking.
mm-hmm.
No, thank you.
She'd be scary.
Maybe Tolkien was like super afraid of spiders.
There is talk of that. I forget what there is. I'll look that up later. But anyways, so Melkor is now in the form that he was when he was in charge of Autumno, his old fortress. Quote, a dark lord, tall and terrible.
Ooh. Very Sauron.
Yes.
Like in my brain, what Sauron looked like
yeah.
in the movies, like really tall and just black and like lots of like spiky, sharp.
So he approaches Ungoliant and he's like, I have this plan.
Yes.
And at first she's a little hesitant. She was torn between her, quote, lust and great fear. So like lust of light and fear of the Valar. So Melkor decides to sweeten the deal. Quote, do as I bid, and if thou hunger still when all is done, then I will give thee whatsoever thy lust may demand, yea, with both hands.
Ooh, with both hands?
With both hands. However, quote, lightly he made this vow, as he ever did, and he laughed in his heart. Thus did the great thief set his lure for the lesser.
He's already trying to swindle her. Knew it.
Uh-huh. So, with Melkor's oh so generous offer on the table, now Ungoliant is in. So she weaves, quote, a cloak of darkness around them. And this cloak is described as an unlight, in which things seemed to be no more, and which eyes could not pierce, for it was void.
Metal.
So somehow she like could tear apart a part of the void and make it like material. Like,
Vanta Black.
yeah, I kind of picture in Deathly Hollows when the death was like took a part of his cloak and gave it
Uh-huh.
to the things as the thing.
Peveril family.
Yes, to for the invisibility cloak.
Have you ever heard of Vanta Black? It's a type of paint.
No.
So it's basically the darkest black that's available, and it like literally sucks light. So
Crazy.
it's crazy.
Yeah. So that yes. I feel like the Valar and even the Maiar had powers in the beginning, and I wonder what hers was in the beginning.
Scary. just being real scary. Like what her powers would be? Or like what she could create or whatever. Fear, butt webs of darkness.
Like it seems like maybe like the opposite of Varda. Like I don't know. I want more information, Tolkien. So Ungoliant and Melkor are under this cloak of darkness as they travel from Avathar in the south northwards toward Valinor. Quote, but Melkor looked north and saw afar the lights of Telperion and Laurelin. Remember, those are the names of the two trees. Then Melkor laughed aloud. He loves his evil laugh. And sorry, that wasn't a quote. That was me saying.
Maniacal laugh. Maniacal
Yes.
laugh.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Make that, please. And Ungoliant was at his side, and her darkness covered them.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Ooh. Sorry. That just like it's scary, but also epic. Like
Epic.
this guy just like there, and he
Yes.
has like this cool armor on, and then this giant spider lady is like right there behind him, like like I'd be afraid.
But you couldn't see it. I mean, you'd just be seeing darkness. More terrifying?
The worst spiders, the ones you don't see. The worst. Oh gosh.
Yes. I feel like Abby is going to have nightmares after this. Do you need a happy movie after this? So, anyways, meanwhile, in Valinor, the Valar were actually holding a festival. Remember how we were talking about feasts last time? And we're like, why? They have feasts? This explains it. So, although there aren't actual seasons in Arda, the like time is going, but there's no sun and moon to like make night and day, and there's no winter, there's no summer. It's just always like summer.
Cool. I wish I had that. I'd be like, ugh, I'm over winter. We're ready for summer.
So, but because the Valar were living among the elves and they had bodies like elves, they actually did eat and drink like elves too, which is a question I had. So they eat the fruit that Yavanna makes, and apparently she had like made her own seasons. Like she set little timers. I'm imagining for when the flowers would ripen, or for when the fruits would flower and then ripen. I know. Ding, we're done. So at each harvest, quote, Manwe made a high feast for the praising of Eru, when all Eru is also a Luvatar. When all the peoples of Valinor poured forth their joy in music and song.
Okay. Fun.
But I also kind of wonder what kind of a celebration it would be if everyone's supposed to be like singing. If you have a room full of amazing singers, like, do they try and outdo each other? Like,
yes, it's a total diva contest. It's like when you go to karaoke and you're just having fun and you're like, I'm just gonna have fun with karaoke. I'm gonna do like a fun, silly song that like I'm not very good at, but I'm just gonna have fun with my friends. And then this person comes up and they sing like Adele or something, and you're like, okay. You're like, sure. Thanks. Like, I get it. You're amazing.
thanks for that.
And then they like, oh my gosh, I don't,
Yeah.
you don't make me do this. Oh my gosh. And then they do it and you're like, and then it's amazing. And they're like, don't clap. Oh my gosh, stop it. And they're just like, okay, like, sure.
Mm-hmm. I can totally imagine. I want the karaoke video of the elves on Valinor, please. Thank you, Tolkien.
Yeah.
So, even though things were kind of scary in Valinor, everyone was a little on edge because they were all still worried about what Melkor might be up to. Monwë decided that this harvest feast festival was going to be the best one ever.
Distraction.
A distraction. He just wanted to smooth everything over, to put aside the griefs that lay between their princes and forget utterly the lies of their enemy. Because remember, Fingolfin and Fëanor are princes, technically. So, but the princes caused the drama, or not caused it, but like the drama was around the princes. So he just wants to smooth that all over. So almost everyone was there at this feast. The Vanyar were there, the Noldor were there. The Teleri actually didn't come. Quote, only the Teleri beyond the mountains still sang upon the shores of the sea, for he uses the word wrecked, Recked, which like Google could not figure out. I think he means like reckoned.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to say like, for they reckoned little season, like they cared. Yeah. For they cared little, I'll say, of seasons or times, and gave no thought to the cares of the rules of Arda or the shadow that had fallen on Valinor, for it had not touched them as yet. So the Teleri are just kind of off in their own world, like, we don't care. We're good. We got our ocean. We're good.
Oh. We're gonna get cell service out here. We don't know what's we don't have good Wi-Fi to get all the news.
But they do it willingly, though. Like
they're off the grid, man.
They're off the grid. That is it. Yeah. So Monwë even commands, and I find this whole thing odd. He commands Fëanor to come. Fëanor isn't allowed back in Tirion. His banishment isn't over, but he still commands him to come to this festival. Weird.
Mm-hmm. He's trying to, patch things up, like make it nice again. Show them that they're still good.
But it's still weird. Like his banishment's not over. Like, yeah, you're gonna, extend this like invitation, and then okay, now go back to your timeout. Like, I'd understand if it was at the end, but I don't know. I just find this a weird move on Monwë's part.
Yeah,
because even Fëanor's sons and his father Finwë, they stayed in Formenos, where they were kind of staying for their banishment. So Fëanor's the only one that came from their little clan. And actually, Finwë didn't even want to come because
it's like, I don't want to go. You guys banished me. I'm not going to your dumb party.
Well, and that's why I'm surprised Fëanor didn't, put up a fuss. That's probably why Monwë had to command him. But Finwë didn't want to come because, as long as his son was technically banished, he considered himself, quote, unkinged.
What?
Kinged, like he wasn't the king.
Oh.
And he didn't want to see his people if he wasn't the king, I guess.
Diva much? Diva much?
Like, this is just an awkward situation all around. I just will, stay over here. So anyways, Fëanor arrives at the festival, and Tolkien makes a note that he isn't properly dressed.
Okay, he invites him, and then he has to freaking diss him. Like, it's a costume party, and he doesn't dress up.
Exactly. I feel like this is, his way of protesting. Quote, and Fëanor came not in raiment of festival, and he wore no ornament, neither silver, not gold, nor any gem, and he denied the sight of the Silmarils to the Valar and the Eldar, and left them locked in Formenos in their chamber of iron.
Wow. He's really pouting.
Yes. So Fëanor shows up, and he actually does talk to Fingolfin, his half-brother who he had threatened. One might think this would be an awkward conversation.
Awkward.
And Tolkien makes a point to say, quote, and was reconciled, comma, in word. So Tolkien's just already saying, like, this isn't really happening. Like, they might say they're okay, but they're not.
Yes.
So here's how the conversation went down. Fingolfin holds out his hand. Quote, as I promised, I do now. I release thee and remember no grievance. Fëanor takes hand in silence. Fingolfin, half brother in blood, full brother in heart will I be. Thou shalt lead and I will follow. May no new grief divide us. Fëanor, I hear thee. So be it.
Jeez, he's trying. He's trying to be a good guy. Come on. Such sibling energy. Oh my gosh. Such fighting siblings.
Then Tolkien says, but they did not know the meaning that their words would bear. Me, as I'm reading this, now kiss.
Yeah. Mine is like, no, they have to wear that
the shirt, the one big shirt.
the shirt. The one big shirt that they have to hug each other and they can't fight. Or they have to sit on the same fighting step. And they have to sit next to each other and not hurt each other, but they have to sit by each other and make sure that they can forgive each other finally. It's the giant shirt, though. Please, if you're an artist and you listen to this, please draw Fëanor and Fingolfin wearing the giant shirt.
Please draw this.
Okay, what is it called? Because I feel like maybe our international listeners are like, what the heck are you talking about? What is it called? Timeout shirt for siblings.
So basically the idea is that if you have two siblings, two kids fighting, then you put them in like an extra large, like adult size shirt. So they have to be like really close to each other and just like make up.
But you can't hurt each other.
Right. Love each other.
It's a forced hug, basically. Yes. If you don't know what we're talking about, go on Google and type in timeout shirt for siblings. Sometimes they're called, this is our get along shirt.
Oh.
Get along, you guys.
Yes.
Yes, please someone draw these two beautiful elf brothers in a get along shirt, a timeout shirt.
Please someone draw this. Yes. So, while this totally heartfelt exchange was happening, quote, there came the mingling of the lights when both trees were shining, and the silent city of Valmar was filled with a radiance of silver and gold. And this is when that's all gonna go to crap.
Oh, come on.
The streets are empty. This is kind of like in Shrek when Lord Farquaad's holding the tournament, but like everywhere else is like a ghost town because everyone is just like attending the feast or the festival. So the rest of the city is empty.
Uh-huh.
So this is when Melkor and Ungoliant make their move.
Sneaky.
So with their cloak of darkness, or the unlight of Ungoliant, still covering them, they go to the two trees. Okay, do you have an emotional support huggy around you? I feel like your tree hugger heart might not be able to take this.
I'm covering my mouth with my sweatshirt because I'm scared.
Okay. Quote, this is Melkor. With his black spear, he smote each tree to its core, wounded them deep, and their sap poured forth as it were their blood and was spilled upon the ground. But Ungoliant sucked it up.
Oh.
And going then from tree to tree, she set her black beak to their wounds till they were drained.
Yikes.
And the poison of death that was in her went into their tissues and withered them, root, branch, and leaf. And they died. And still she thirsted. And going to the wells of Varda, she drank them dry. But Ungoliant belched forth black vapors as she drank, and swelled to a shape so vast and hideous that Melkor was afraid.
Oh, They had to ruin it. It was so pretty. Jerks.
Just a side note, this is the first time, as far as I can remember, and maybe it was mentioned before and I didn't notice it, that the wells of Varda are mentioned.
Yeah.
So I looked it up, and it's actually kind of cool. So I found this on the Encyclopedia of Arda website, which I use a lot for this podcast. Quote, from each of the 2 trees of Valinor, a shimmering dew fell, a dew of silver light from Telperion, and a dew of golden light from Laurelin. Varda had caused these dews to be collected into great lake-like vats, the wells of Varda, that spread their light throughout the land of Valinor. It was from the silver wells of Telperion that Varda took the dews that she used to create the most brilliant stars in the sky.
Oh. So it's like kind of like glowing rivers.
Yes, that's kind of what I imagine.
Cool. Now they're gone.
And now they're gone, yeah. Because I always try to imagine, like, Aemon must be a big continent. And I mean, other than the side of the mountains that doesn't get the light, somehow this whole other side of the land gets light. But if there's this, like, river system of light, then the light can be, like, spread out.
Cool.
But now they're gone. So, yeah. Yep.
Well, now it's gone. So, oh man.
This tragedy actually caused an elf of the Vanyar. He has a name, but it was unpronounceable. Sorry. He would later write it into, quote, a lament for the 2 trees called the Aldunие. That would be well known among the Eldar. Like, this is one of their, like, greatest hits of the of the Eldar.
Yeah.
Oh no, they can't handle it either.
I know. They're so upset. Elamiyar is the person who made it.
What? Oh,
The
yeah.
person who wrote
I was just gonna let that
thing.
go, but
I tried.
you don't need to know his name.
Hey, he wants writer credit, okay? Give him his dues. It's probably the only thing he's gonna do in this whole book.
I really think that's his only mention, not to be honest.
Jeez.
So, quote, yet no song or tale could contain all the grief and terror that then befell. The light failed, but the darkness that followed was more than loss of light. And that hour was made a darkness that seemed not lack, but a thing with being of its own. For it was indeed made by malice out of light, and it had power to pierce the eye and to enter heart and mind and strangle the very will.
Did they not notice that it suddenly went black? Like, is everybody like...
We're getting there.
Okay.
But I mean, this is even more terrible. Not only are the lights all of a sudden just turned off, but the darkness that's there now is like an evil darkness.
Like alive.
Alive, yes.
Uh-huh.
So Varda and Monway are up in their, I feel like their throne room on Tanaquitl. Remember, that's like the highest mountain peak. That's where the feast was being held, I believe, from what I'm kind of gathering from all the things. They look down and they see this blackness. Quote, Valmar, which is the city of I don't know why he keeps going back and forth, Valinor and Valmar, but I consider them the same thing, had foundered in a deep sea of night. Soon the holy mountain, their mountain that they were on, stood alone, a last island in a world that was drowned.
Jeez.
Yes.
And this is covering like where all the other elves are too?
Not Aqualande, because that's further away. But
okay,
where the feast was and where their city was, where all the festivities were happening.
It kind of reminds me of that like scary fog stuff from Stranger Things that's like alive and like went into people and was scary.
Yeah, for sure. So Monway, remember, he has like supervision, especially if Varda is with him. Mm-hmm. He looks out, and all he could see was, quote, darkness beyond dark, huge but far away, moving now northward with great speed, and he knew that Melkor had come and gone.
Oh, yikes.
So immediately, Arome and Tulkas, our men, went after him.
They're like having some food and like talking to somebody. They're like chatting it up and like, and then they like see it. They're like, oh, hell no. They just like throw it
I
down.
was just about
And they're
to
like,
say.
they're not, he's over my party. They were about to do their karaoke song together.
And what would have been
so
that karaoke song,
upset.
Abby?
Sweet
Sweet Caroline.
A journey song. Sorry.
So Arome and Tulkas went after him with a bunch of riders. It just says a bunch of riders. I'm assuming maybe elves or Mire. I don't know. But as soon as they came upon the cloud of Ungoliant, the riders became blinded, and in the confusion, they got separated from each other and were lost.
Oh no!
And then this was my favorite part of this entire chapter because.
So everybody's freaking out. It's all dark.
Yes. And then this happens, and I was like crying, laughing. How can one be crying, laughing at a scene that's so sad and dark, Ashley? What you asked me that? Quote, and Tulkas was as one caught in a black net at night, and he stood powerless and beat the air in vain. Because you can totally picture that.
He's like a kid trying to hit a piñata. Yes. He can't see it.
I'll get you!
Yeah. He's like a dog caught under a blanket and he can't get out.
It's not funny. This whole scene is very sad, but then like him just like randomly caught in like a net, punching the air, thinking that he's actually doing damage. You like that? You like that? How do you like that? Take that!
And one of these. And one of those. It's sad. Okay, we're sad now. Sad.
We're sad again. We're sad again. Quote, but when the darkness had passed, it was too late. Melkor had gone whither he would, and his vengeance was achieved.
It's like that feeling at the end of Infinity War or the end of like the latest season of Stranger Things where it's like, oh, they lost. Like your heroes who you thought could vanquish anything and like make sure everything was okay lose.
Yes.
And it's kind of like this like sinking feeling of like, oh no. Like it's hard to watch it.
You mean fairy tales don't all come true or dreams don't all come true?
Yeah. It's hard to watch it. Like it's very like, you know, you always root for your heroes like, oh, nothing can hurt them. Everything's going to be fine. And then you're like, oh no.
Yeah, I feel like Stranger Things and Infinity Wars is a good analogy for that. Just that sinking feeling like, oh, they be screwed.
They've won every other time, but this time it didn't work out.
So that's actually where I'm going to leave you today. In that feeling of despair.
A cliffhanger.
Yep.
Oh.
Sorry.
Well, now I'm sad. Thanks.
You're welcome.
It goes with this gloomy, cloudy day.
It goes with the gloomy, yeah. That's why I'm like, it's kind of appropriate.
Yeah. Well, I think, I don't know, it has to make for a good story because it's like everything can't, for a good story, you can't just have like, and everything was perfect all the time and nothing went wrong. Like that, then the story would end right there. But that's really sad. They just wanted to have a good time. They were just having a fun party. They were trying to give everybody light in the world that literally had no light. Like, just trying to do some good. And then Melkor and that scary spider lady. I honestly think that Tolkien has a very huge phobia of spiders. That is my canon for...
I'm going to look that up right now. Because there's like an actual story about that. Because there's like some kind of, oh gosh.
What?
Okay, so I'm sorry. This Google like autofill is making me. Was Tolkien, and I was about to type afraid of spiders, but the like autofill, was Tolkien mentally stable?
You know what? Valid question.
A fever dream. It's all a fever dream.
He wrote, I do not dislike spiders particularly and have no urge to kill them. I usually rescue those whom I find in the bath. maybe he's not afraid of spiders, but he knows it's a very big phobia. A lot of people would resonate with a fear of huge giant spiders, you know?
So there's two things. So apparently in a biography somewhere, someone wrote that Tolkien was bit by a tarantula
Oh my
as
god.
a child. He has later denied that. I like this version better. Apparently his son Michael was terrified of spiders.
Mm.
And then this website says, so Tolkien did what any good father would do. He wrote the world's scariest spider attack scene with the sole intention of scaring the crap out of the unfortunate little thing.
Oh no. Good parenting.
Yeah. So Tolkien had little memory of this spider bite incident. So he doesn't deny that it happened, but he says that he has very little memory of it.
Well, is he Spider-Man now?
Maybe. But he actually claimed to like spiders to the point where he would rescue them from the tub rather than letting them go down the drain like a normal, non-crazy person, is what this person said.
Yeah. So is he mentally unstable?
Well, like we talked about, it's a fever dream. He wrote these all when he was recovering from his trench fever in the hospital.
Yeah. Yikes.
Ugh.
Well, thanks for the cheery, uplifting podcast episode today, Ashley. Thanks for teaching me today.
You are welcome. Now go watch a happy movie.
Like we stated before, if you are an artist and you want to draw Fëanor and Fingolfin
Finn was golfing.
Fingolfin in a timeout shirt in a sibling no more fighting shirt. We just want to see it. We're not cool enough to know how to draw something like that. Just let me see it with my eyeballs, okay?
We're not going to pay you to do that. I mean, I'm just going to say that right now. Well, we would love to pay you. We're not rich. So if you would do it just for awesome points, we will give you 100% of the credit.
Yes.
We will credit you up the wazoo, but yeah, we can't pay you to do that. But if you just want to do it out of the kindness of your heart.
If you want to do it just to make us happy and then I can see it with my eyeballs.
Yes.
That would be great.
Yes.
But thank you for all our wonderful followers on Instagram who like talking to us. That's really fun.
Yes. That makes me so happy. We are up to 400 plays. Woo!
Woo! That's crazy. That's crazy. Thank you guys for listening so far.
Yeah. So keep listening to the podcast. Tell your friends, rate and review. Spread the word.
Talk about it with friends. Be like, hey, you know how you were really intimidated to read the Silmarillion? Well, I've got this for you. Here you go. And give them our podcast. Physically give them our podcast.
And let me just leave you with this little tidbit in case you're like, do I really need to read the Silmarillion before I watch the Rings of Power, new Amazon thing? Let me give you this tiny little snippet just to make Abby a little excited. She needs a nugget of happiness.
Ooh.
Are you ready, Abby?
I'm ready for my nugget.
So obviously Galadriel is in the Rings of Power show, right?
Yes.
Are you ready for your nugget?
Okay.
She is the daughter of Finarfin.
Oh. So she had a cool dad.
Yes. She's closer in the story than you think.
That makes her really old.
Yeah.
That makes her
she's older than Elrond.
One of the older beings in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, I would assume. But wow.
She is pretty rad.
She's a boss lady. She's pretty rad.
So there's your nugget.
Thank you.
Now you can watch the Rings of Power show.
And be like, I know something.
I know something.
Okay, well, thanks for joining us today, you guys. It's been fun. This has been episode 11 of the Sisters of the Shire podcast. And I've been Abby.
I'm Ashley.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.